Stop scrolling for just a moment, because August 17th carries a message you may not be able to see yet, but you may already be feeling. The crescent moon is growing, and symbolically, so is something inside your life. A new decision, a new identity, a new opportunity, a new version of you that has been quietly forming beneath the surface. But here's the part most people miss. The beginning of a new life rarely looks like a breakthrough. Sometimes it looks like confusion. Sometimes it looks like waiting. Sometimes it feels like nothing is happening at all. But Aries, what if the silence you've been experiencing isn't emptiness? What if it's preparation? Because what you are building now may become visible much later. And by the end of this message, you'll understand why August 17th may be less about chasing something new and more about recognizing what is already beginning. So stay until the end, because there is one mistake Aries must avoid while this energy is growing. Aries, stop scrolling, because August 17th carries a message you need to hear. The crescent moon is growing, and symbolically, something in your life is growing with it. You may not see the results yet. You may even feel like nothing is changing. But behind the scenes, a new chapter is quietly taking shape. And there's one mistake you absolutely need to avoid while this new life is forming. Stay until the end, Aries, because this message may change the way you see your current season. 1. The moon is growing, and so are you. The crescent moon carries a powerful metaphor. It begins small. You can barely see it. It doesn't dominate the night sky. It doesn't demand attention. But every night it grows. And Aries, that may be exactly what is happening in your life. You may be looking at your circumstances and thinking, where is the change? Why haven't I received the answer yet? Why does everything feel slower than I expected? But growth doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes growth happens quietly. You become less interested in things that once controlled you. You stop explaining yourself. You start protecting your time. You become more selective about who gets access to your energy. You begin thinking differently about your future. And one day, you suddenly realize, I'm not the same person I was a few months ago. That is growth. The moon doesn't become full overnight, and neither does your next chapter. August 17th is a reminder that your new life may already be developing, even if you can't see the entire picture yet. So don't underestimate small beginnings. The conversation, the idea, the decision, the first step, the tiny spark of courage. Because sometimes the smallest beginning carries the blueprint for the biggest transformation. 2. Why Aries may feel impatient right now. Now let's talk about something very Aries, impatience. Aries energy wants movement. You want to know, you want to act, you want results. And when something matters to you, waiting can feel almost unbearable. But what if this season is teaching you something completely different? What if you're being asked to understand the difference between movement and progress? Because they are not the same. You can move constantly and still go nowhere. You can chase opportunity after opportunity and still feel empty. But you can also pause, observe, prepare, and quietly build something that changes your entire direction. The crescent moon doesn't rush to become full, it follows its cycle. And your life has cycles too. There are moments for action. There are moments for rest. There are moments for releasing. And there are moments for building. August 17th may be asking you to respect the building phase. Don't force the door open just because you can't see what's behind it. Sometimes the door is opening slowly because you're still becoming the person who is ready to walk through it. 3. The old version of you is losing its power. Here's where this gets deeper. A new life cannot fully emerge while you are constantly trying to return to an old identity. And Aries, you may notice something strange happening. Certain things don't feel exciting anymore. Certain conversations feel exhausting. Certain environments feel too small. Certain relationships may no longer fit the person you're becoming. And at first you might wonder, what's wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you. You are evolving. Growth often creates distance before it creates clarity. The old version of you may have needed everyone's approval. The new version doesn't. The old version may have reacted immediately. The new version observes first. The old version may have chased people. The new version understands that what belongs in your life doesn't require you to beg for its presence. This is why August 17th isn't simply about what is coming, it's also about what you are becoming. Because your next chapter requires a different version of you, and that version is already being built, quietly, slowly, day by day. 4. The sign you're actually entering a new chapter. So how do you know this transformation is happening? Watch for the small signs. Maybe you suddenly feel the urge to clean your room, organize your finances, change your routine, start exercising, create something, learn something, delete something, or simply spend more time alone. These may look like ordinary decisions, but sometimes external organization reflects internal transformation. You begin creating space because something inside you knows. Something new needs somewhere to land. And here's another sign. You stop needing immediate answers. You begin trusting yourself more. You realize you don't have to know every detail of your future to take the next step. That is maturity. That is alignment. And that is exactly how a new life begins, not with a dramatic announcement, but with one small choice, followed by another, and another. 5. What the crescent moon is teaching you. Look at the crescent moon again. It is visible, but incomplete. And that's important, because you don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need the entire plan. You don't need to know exactly how everything will work. You only need enough light to see your next step. That's it. Maybe you've been demanding certainty before allowing yourself to move. But life rarely gives certainty first. Sometimes you move first, and clarity arrives afterward. So on August 17th, ask yourself one question. What is the next small thing I can build? Not 10 things, not your entire future. One thing, one habit, one conversation, one boundary, one decision, one action toward the life you keep imagining. Because small actions repeated consistently become a completely different reality. The crescent moon teaches you, don't judge your future by the size of your beginning. 6. The hidden opportunity. Aries may miss. And now we come to the part I really want you to remember. Sometimes when something new is forming, it doesn't arrive looking attractive. It may arrive as an inconvenience, a delay, a rejection, a change of plans, a sudden realization. Something you thought you wanted may disappear, and you may immediately think, this isn't what I asked for. But sometimes life removes what no longer matches your direction. The ending isn't always the punishment. Sometimes the ending is the redirection. So if something feels uncertain around this time, don't immediately assume it's negative. Pause. Ask yourself, what is this making room for? That question can change everything. Because when you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this preparing me for? You begin seeing your life differently. And Aries, that shift in perspective may be more powerful than any external event. 7. The biggest mistake to avoid. Now listen carefully. There is one mistake you should avoid while your new chapter is still developing. Don't announce everything too early. Not every dream needs an audience. Not every plan needs approval. Not every goal needs to be explained. Some things need silence. Some things need privacy. Some things need time to become strong enough to survive outside opinions. Imagine planting a seed and digging it up every morning just to check whether it's growing. You would destroy the very process you're waiting for. Your dreams can be like that. Protect what you're building. Work quietly. Let your actions speak later. And if someone doesn't understand your new direction, you don't always have to convince them. Your life is not a debate. Your transformation doesn't require everyone's permission. August 17th asks you to become comfortable with invisible progress. Because just because people cannot see your growth doesn't mean it isn't happening. 8. Your new life needs a new standard, Aries. Ask yourself, what will I no longer tolerate? What behavior am I done accepting? What distractions am I ready to release? What kind of life am I actually trying to create? Because your future isn't built only by what you add. It's also built by what you remove. You can't build peace while constantly inviting chaos. You can't build confidence while repeatedly betraying yourself. You can't build a new identity while continuing to live by every rule of your old one. So, maybe your next chapter begins with a boundary. Maybe it begins with saying no. Maybe it begins with finally choosing yourself, not selfishly, not arrogantly, but intentionally, because the person you're becoming deserves a life that matches their growth. 9. The moment everything starts making sense. And here's the beautiful thing about the crescent moon. There comes a moment when you suddenly notice the difference. You look back and realize the tiny step became momentum. The difficult decision created freedom. The ending created space. The waiting created wisdom. The quiet season created strength. And suddenly, what once felt like nothing starts looking like preparation. Aries, don't demand the full picture today. Trust the next piece. Trust the next step. Trust the version of yourself that is learning how to move differently. Because one day, you may look back at August 17th and realize, that was when I stopped chasing the old life. That was when I started building the new one. 10. Your August 17th message. Aries, before you leave this message, I want you to pause for a moment. Forget everything happening around you. Forget the pressure to have all the answers. Forget the things that haven't happened yet. And simply ask yourself one honest question. What am I building that I need to be patient with? Maybe it's your career. Maybe it's your confidence. Maybe it's a dream you haven't told anyone about. Maybe it's a completely different life than the one you once imagined. Whatever it is, don't judge it because it isn't finished yet. Remember the crescent moon. When you first look at it, you don't see the entire moon. You see a small piece of light, but you don't call it incomplete. You understand that it is growing. And Aries, you need to give yourself that same grace. You are allowed to be a work in progress. You are allowed to be uncertain. You are allowed to take your time. You are allowed to start again. The fact that you haven't reached your destination doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're still becoming. And August 17th carries a powerful reminder. Don't abandon something meaningful simply because the results are taking longer than you expected. Some of the most important transformations happen when nobody is watching. You change your habits. You change your standards. You change the way you speak to yourself. You stop chasing what constantly drains you. You start choosing what actually brings you peace. And slowly, your entire life begins responding to that inner shift. Now ask yourself another question. What am I ready to stop carrying? Maybe it's an old disappointment. Maybe it's someone's opinion of you. Maybe it's the need to prove yourself. Maybe it's the fear that you're running out of time. Release it. You don't need to carry yesterday into tomorrow. And then ask the final question. Who am I becoming? Don't answer with what you want to possess. Answer with who you want to be. Stronger, calmer, more confident, more disciplined, more selective, more courageous. Whatever comes to mind, begin practicing that version of yourself today. Because your future isn't created someday in the distance. It's created through the choices you make right now. Aries, the crescent moon doesn't rush toward fullness. It simply keeps growing, night after night, quietly, consistently. And that's your message for August 17th. Keep growing, even when nobody notices. Keep building, even when the foundation feels invisible. Keep believing, even when the evidence hasn't arrived yet. Because one day you will look back at this chapter and realize that the season you thought was slow was actually preparing you for everything that came next. So take a deep breath, trust your process, protect your vision, and step forward. Your new life isn't waiting for you somewhere in the future. You are building it right now. And Aries, the crescent moon is only beginning to shine. Aries, remember this: you are not behind. You are building. You are not lost. You are becoming. And you are not waiting for your life to begin. You are already creating it. If this message found you at the right moment, comment, "I am building my new life." And let that be your affirmation for August 17th. The moon is growing, and so are you.